Hi, my name is Laura Burgoyne, and I'm excited to be joining together with my sister Connie Blackwood in the NOSA Unleashed podcast. Here, we want to expose the stigma surrounding mental health issues by illuminating and discussing real-life challenges and obstacles, keeping us paralyzed and fearful to move forward. Let us inspire you to believe there's more to life than what you're currently experiencing. You can rise from your despair and find hope for the future. It's time to end the silence, remove the stigma of mental health, and to pursue the path to purpose and fulfillment. We will do this together because no one stands alone. Welcome back to the NOSA Unleashed podcast. I'm Laura Burgoyne, joined here with my sister Connie Blackwood.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here.
I'm glad that you're here, Connie. And today our topic is the choice to thrive. We're going to be talking about resilience in our life and how we can cultivate resilience and what is resilience. So I'm just going to start with the definition of resilience, and it's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And it's also cumulative to something we would consider like toughness in our life. And there's one thing that I've realized in my life is that resilience is not something that only a select few people have, which I think sometimes that's what we think. It's actually within all of us. And the goal is that it be discovered and the layers peeled back in our life to reveal the tenacious, courageous warriors that is within all of us. And I hope that that will be the outcome of this podcast today, that you'll realize that you are resilient, that there is that resilience within you, the ability for you to overcome no matter what you're going through, no matter what circumstance you're facing right now, and you can overcome it and you can rise above it and you can push through it. And so, Connie, welcome to this conversation. I'm just glad you're here with me today to discuss this.
Yeah, I love the title, that it's a choice to thrive, because resilience really is a choice in the outcome of your story. And I love that quote from your blog because it was so key. Like, resilience does have a huge impact on our story. The more resilience we have, the more success we're going to find, the more joy we're going to have in life, and the more freedom we have. Like, because we don't get stuck as easily and we don't end up in these huge ruts for long periods of time. And I've noticed even in my own life, as I've been building resilience, I tend to find my way out of difficult situations much faster than I used to. I used to be stuck for years, and now it's like something will happen and I'll overcome that obstacle much quicker. Sometimes it'll just take a month or two. Boom, I'm past it. And so I think this is a key for everyone, and it's something that we all have within us. It's a matter of unlocking it and walking into it.
Yeah, I know that this is, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know that this is something that I've heard often, like, well, that person's resilient and I'm not, right? Or what makes one person more resilient than the other, right? And I think in all of my research and all of my own personal experience and all of the work that I've done with others, what I have found as the common denominator is that it really comes down to a choice. Am I going to allow what I'm going through to take me down? Am I going to, and this is a terrible word, but essentially it's what I do when I am not being resilient, when I'm not pushing through. I just literally just sit and wallow kind of in my despair. And, when you look at it from that point of view or that perspective, it's like, why would I want to stay there? But how many times do we stay there? And we do it by choice, right? And I've realized this. This is a great revelation that I've come to, is that no matter what I'm facing, and I mean, you can even have two people in the same family experiencing the exact same circumstances, and they have different responses. And of course, it comes down to personality, character, different things like that, that will impact how they perceive it and how it impacts them. But whether they are going to allow it to hinder them or accelerate them into something new really just comes down to a choice. And I
Mhm.
think that's what I want to talk about today is this choice. And how do we make that choice in the midst of our circumstance? When things suck, when things are terrible, when like great devastation happens to us, how do we pick ourselves back up, dust ourselves off, and keep moving forward? Like, how do we do that? Because sometimes the blows are so big, so traumatizing, so difficult that, it literally knocks us off our feet. Right. And
Mhm.
like you were saying, Connie, sometimes in my life, things have knocked me down for a while, but I got to the point where I was just like, I'm no longer gonna let this stop me. And I had to make a choice. I had to decide that I was no longer going to allow these things to hold me back, but I was going to use what I've learned in these moments to propel me forward. I was going to use it to my benefit to grow and to become something more than I was in that moment.
Yeah, I have I've seen that in my own life too, like how the resilient thing is so important. Like I think about all the times that you fail, right? And you have a choice when you fail. You can either look at it as a failure and give up, or you can look at it as an opportunity to adjust your course, an opportunity to try something new, an opportunity to take a new avenue. And so many times, like, I think sometimes if we failed a lot, then we feel like we're just a failure. And that's when we're tempted to give up, right? But really, we're not failures. You're only a failure if you actually quit. Because if
Right.
you keep trying, eventually you will succeed. I mean, every inventor who ever came up with anything, it wasn't their first try. They
Right.
tried and tried and tried before they found success. And they're successful because of it. Successful people are people who just failed to give up,
Right.
right? They just kept trying. And so I think when it comes to, we can either be overcome by our circumstances or we can overcome them, right? That's what resilience is all about. And I came across this thing that actually I wanted to share. And it was some person's definition of resilience, and that I couldn't find the person's name. However, they said the capacity of a person to maintain their core purpose and integrity in the face of dramatically changed circumstances. And I think that's really key. Like our circumstances can change dramatically in the matter of moments sometimes. And it's whether we can maintain ourselves or get lost in that, right? Like I think of these people who are in these devastating earthquakes in our world or tsunamis or whatever. And the people that are these amazing heroic stories are the people who can maintain their purpose and their integrity in the midst of the complete chaos that their life had become. And they're putting themselves out there to even help and rescue others, even in the midst of losing everything, right? Like, and obviously our normal circumstances are typically not that bad. But I think about my emotional stuff, right? And I'm like, sometimes it feels like in a tsunami inside, even though it really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was going to share a different story before we started, but I am going to share this story. So, me and my husband had applied to become pastors at this one church. And when they rejected us, I saw how that really impacted him in a negative way. But I also saw how um, how God built resilience in him through that situation. And now I see him stronger than he has ever been as far as pursuing what God wants for him in his life. And it took a circumstance that bad to build that in him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually thankful for that situation.
That's actually a really key point, Connie, is that the more we persevere through trials, the stronger we get and the more resilient we get. Because the more that I actually overcome my circumstances, the more that my capacity to do that increases. And
Mm-hmm.
like I no longer struggle like I used to in this area because I've basically worked my muscles of resilience, right? And that's why, you might some of you might be listening today thinking I am not resilient at all. Like I just get so crushed by my circumstances and I just can't seem to push past them. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are resilient and you have that capacity within you. You just need to untap it. You just need to peel back the layers, like I said earlier, and find that tenacious part of you that refuses to give up, that part of you that will not allow any circumstance hold you back. And that you'll look for in those situations something that you can use to move forward with. And I'll actually share a story from my life. And it was about 6 years ago. Um, well, actually, 8 years ago, we actually moved to this land, and my husband had said to me that he wanted to become a farmer. And I thought, you must be crazy because we're city folks and I have no idea how to be a farmer. But sure enough, our first batch of chickens and turkeys arrived, and I thought to myself, I better learn how to become a farmer. So here I started learning how to take care of, chickens and turkeys, and we had rabbits. And he had also bought some sheep and a llama. And so here I am literally learning on the curve. We had built our own barn, like we had refurbished an old garage into a barn. We had built greenhouses around this structure, and we were growing amazing plants for our landscape season, and things were actually going really well. And we were really settling into this new way of living and supplying our own food, and it was really great. It was awesome. And at this time, we had someone come live with us on our land that was going through a difficult time. And I remember this night like it was yesterday, but I was in bed sleeping, and all of a sudden, the lady who was living on our property, she came to our house, opened the door, screaming, "Fire, fire, fire." We wake up in a daze, not really sure what's going on, to go outside and find this whole barn and greenhouse structure completely engulfed in flames. What a devastation, absolute devastation. We lost over 90 animals. We lost all of our greenhouse and all of the plants that we were growing for our business. Like it was gone overnight. Such devastation. And I remember my son saying to me, "Mom, bad things constantly happen to us. Why do we even try? Why do we even build? Like, why don't we just stop? Why don't we just quit?" Right? And there's something within me that was like, no, I don't care what difficulties come. We're going to use this as a catalyst to move forward. And so that's what we did. Like the next day after all was said and done, we started picking up the ashes of her life. We started cleaning out the rubble. We started clearing out a way. And, because of, we did have insurance on our property and stuff, we were able to, get some finances to rebuild a new barn. And so what seemed as a perceived setback, and, it did set us back quite a bit. We used that as a catalyst to do it the way we actually wanted because we hated that garage. It was like we literally made something out of nothing, but we used what we had. But now we basically were being given an opportunity for a clean slate, right? Yes, we were starting over. Yes, that was devastating. Yes, it was a hard season of loss, but we were able to push through and see, the fact that we want to be farmers. We want to be providing our own food. We want to be doing these things. And, literally we brushed off the dirt and the ash and we just kept on building. And we purposed in our heart that we weren't going to let this stop us. And that's what we've done. We've built new barns and new structures, and we've, had more animals, and we'll continue to do this because we want to raise, healthy animals for our family. And so, that was a very devastating moment. And my son, he just wanted to give up and quit, but something within me was like, no matter what happens, no matter what comes our way, I'm not going to let it destroy me.
Mhm.
And that's the whole point of this podcast today, is to just discover within yourself that resilience, that mindset, that tenacious nature within you, that reluctance, and that that you will not quit. You will not give up. You will not just sit in the shame or the pain or wallow in the circumstance that you're facing right now. And I actually wrote down a few different mindsets that the resilient have. And these are mindsets that you can partner with, that you can establish in your life, and that you can actually, purposely think these things. And it will help you propel you into, the action of resilience. So some of the mindsets of resilient people is, no matter how many times I fail, I will get up again. And it actually reminds me, that one reminds me of, those old, Connie, you probably remember this. We had one as a kid, those like punching bags, and at the bottom you had like sand or water, and you would punch it and it would go down, and then it would always come back up, right? And that's the imagery that I get with that mindset. It's like, no matter how many times I fall, no matter how many times I fail, because we will fail, we will fall, we will have tragedy happen to us, but no matter how many times that happens, I'm going to get back up again.
Mhm.
And maybe the first time it'll take me, like you said, a couple years or maybe a few months. But as I keep working those resilience muscles, the next time, maybe it only takes me a couple days. Another mindset is, no matter what comes my way, I will not let it take me down. And that one is more of like, I picture that kind of like a bodybuilder, it's almost like you can almost perceive the trials coming, and you like brace yourself for impact, and you're like, you're not taking me down. Kind of, that's the mindset that's the picture that mindset gives me. Another one is, every perceived setback is a setup for something new or better, right? And Connie, like your situation that you shared about that pastoral position, it's like, that was actually a significant setback for you guys, because you were really looking forward to that opportunity, and it was a fantastic opportunity. And when it didn't pan out, it was a setback, but you were able to look at it for what it was. You were able to glean some really great lessons out of that, and it's actually propelled you into some opportunities that I think would be better for you guys. And so I think that's amazing. Another mindset is to tell yourself that you have what it takes. You have within yourself what it takes to thrive. And choose that you will not give up, no matter what happens. And if something doesn't work, just try it another way. And I know there's other mindsets that are resilience based, but those are the most common that I have to say to myself, that I purposely think in times of circumstance or opposition or obstacles that I face. These are some of the things that I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this take me down.
And sometimes I think to myself too, like, if my circumstance isn't, like, if what I'm doing isn't where I want it to be, then I'm not done yet.
Right.
Right? Like, obviously it's not done. And so that also propels me forward, right? Like, okay, well, this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. This isn't where it's supposed to be at. So I'm not done yet. And that tends to propel me forward as well. Like, just knowing that this isn't the end of this road, right? There's more to it. And I there's this one song that says, if it's not good, it's not done. And I love that song because it's really true. Like, if it's not good, it's not done yet. because God wants our good for us. And so if it's not good, it's not done. So it just propels me forward. I think other things that I hold on to are just the dreams that I have, and knowing that they're not fulfilled yet, right? There's still more to go. There's still more to learn, more to gain. And even with that opportunity that we lost, like, we took it as an opportunity to learn, grow, and become better. And so we were taking leadership courses and all these other things, and it's opened up so much stuff for us in a lot of ways. Even taking this one course that I took, all of a sudden I'm having a conversation with these people and they were shocked by how much knowledge I had. And I was just like, it was this one course that opened up that entire conversation. And had I not been rejected by this other church, would I have pursued that? I don't know. And would I have pursued it with as much tenacity? I don't know. And so, you look at even the obstacles that seem to be in your way, and they can actually be things that propel you forward and give you something better, right? Like, I can't even explain to you how much I've grown since that happened, right? So
Well, I've seen the growth, Connie, so it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So yeah, just to recap for today, honestly, resilience is a choice that we make in the outcome of our story. And so we get to choose. We get to choose how our story unfolds and what direction we get to go in. And when we are faced with obstacles and difficulty and circumstances that are overwhelming, are disappointing, and sometimes devastating, we have to, come to the place where we recognize it for what it is in the moment, but also decide that we don't want to stay there, that we want to continue moving forward. And so you are resilient. You have resilience within you. And I encourage you that if you're not operating in it, dig a little deeper. Find that part of who you are. Make the choice to thrive. Make the choice to change, to push through, to be tenacious, to be courageous, because you are resilient. So thank you once again for joining us on this NOSA Unleashed podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time on the NOSA Unleashed podcast.